history as the Coast Guard announcing the largest drug offload in history, totaling nearly $500 million at the Florida port. The U.S. Coast Guard says crews offloaded 61,000 pounds of cocaine and 14,000 pounds of bulk marijuana at the Port Everglades in South Florida. Let's listen in.
Protecting our nation. 80% of all narcotics seized are confiscated at sea, underscoring the impact of Coast Guard maritime interdiction efforts. The U.S. Coast Guard brings unique authorities and unmatched capabilities as the world's leader in maritime counter-drug operations. Every single day, thousands of brave men and women of the Coast Guard stand watch, controlling, securing, and defending our border and maritime approaches. We are proud to serve as a part of the Department of Homeland Security and at all times, one of our military branches. Whether on the water or in the air, the U.S. Coast Guard works hand in hand with our partners. We're on the front lines in the fight against foreign terrorist organizations and other dangerous criminals who seek to flood our community with narcotics, deadly fentanyl, and other illicit substances. To truly understand the significance of this offload, consider this. The 61,740 pounds of cocaine represent 23 million potentially lethal doses. That's enough to fatally overdose the entire population of the state of Florida. Think about that for a moment. Enough cocaine to kill everyone in Florida. That's the immense scale of the threat we face. Maritime interdiction is, without a doubt, the most effective way to stop these deadly drugs before they reach our communities, before they destroy lives and tear our families apart. Under Secretary Noem's leadership,
What's going on? You right where you need to be with Spirit G. What's going on, man? This is the biggest drug bust known to man in ever in history. This is big. I mean, I was kind of mad when they said something about the gas. You know what I'm saying? We need that, but I'm just messing around. But yeah, this is the biggest drug bust, man. Like, comment, and subscribe. Get in here. I'm not gonna hold y'all up no longer. Grab your popcorn and watch this. This is crazy, man.
the Coast Guard are committed to dedicating the resources and the effort necessary to stop the flow of dangerous drugs into our country. Over the past several months, the Coast Guard is accelerating its counter-drug operations in the maritime transit zone. In close coordination with our international and interagency partners, we are surging additional cutters, aircraft, and tactical law enforcement teams to the Eastern Pacific Ocean to hunt down, interdict, and board these suspected smugglers, all in support of Operation Pacific Viper. This critical operation is one of the Coast Guard's key efforts to interdict, seize, and disrupt the transshipment of cocaine and other bulk illicit drugs that come to us by sea from South America through the Eastern Pacific to our shores. These drugs fuel and enable cartels and transnational criminal organizations, the very same groups that are pushing fentanyl and other deadly substances to our communities. To the crew of Coast Guard Cutter Hamilton and to all our incredible partners here today and those that are still out there doing the mission, I extend my deepest gratitude. Thank you for your extraordinary service, your unwavering commitment, and your tireless efforts to keep America safe. Semper Paratus. Million. $1 million. I'm sorry, with an M. Yes, ma'am. You're welcome.
$1 million bus is crazy.
Good morning. My name's Admiral Chase Sargent. I'm the Deputy Director for JIADF South, which is charged with all of the detection and monitoring of drugs, both on the water and in the maritime airspace. And our connection to Coast Guard is obviously we build the picture and pass the ships and the prosecution off to the Coast Guard, who then gets after the drugs, interdicts it, and brings it home. Brings it home for burning and disposal. I want to recognize, as Admiral Shammy did, the joint force and the U.S. law enforcement agencies that are here today as well.
My bad. I was just saying, just a little bit of that work. Y'all couldn't hear me. I was off camera, but just a little bit of that was 30,000, just a corner of that. So it's a big bus.
Collaboration that goes on between all of these groups to make this mission and our mission as successful as it is to detect and monitor, but also to support the Coast Guard, both Coast Guard District Southwest and Coast Guard District Southeast, in executing their part of the mission, which is to get the drugs. And a whole government collaboration that makes detection monitoring so effective. But we're not here to recognize those agencies as much as we are the incredible work you see here in front of you on the collection of 27 plus, and I'm going to say metric tons because we track it in metric tons, but I did the math, it's the same as the pounds. 27 plus metric tons of cocaine and 15.9 thousand pounds of marijuana. And in addition to that, as the Admiral mentioned, set a new Coast Guard record for the largest single offload by a U.S. Coast Guard vessel. Led by Hamilton during the 2 months that they were out at sea, so 2 months only. They were assisted by the other ships, as he mentioned before, the Hamilton, Diligence, the Vigilant, USS Cole, USS Minneapolis St. Paul, and the frigate Friesland from the Dutch. It was a glorious grouping of ships at a single time, and to bring together the large.
They have been out here for 2 months doing their job, looking for stuff like this.
Offload that you see here today.
Crazy work, crazy.
General, what's keeping America safe from drugs? It's this. It's the work they're doing out there every day, every night, 365, 24/7, out in the East Pac, Eastern Pacific, and the Caribbean. This is what's keeping drugs off the streets of America, and this is what's winning the war on drugs in general. An impressive group effort. On top of that record as well, I want to acknowledge the Hamilton in general, the crew of the Hamilton, for demonstrating aggressiveness and perseverance from the day they arrived on mission, and it's resulted in an interdiction of 20 of that 27 metric tons, 20 plus of it belonging to the Hamilton alone. This is not just an impressive number. It is, we believe, the largest offload of a single ship for a 2-month patrol, or any patrol as well. So, Captain McWhite, you and your crew should be very proud of this effort. And we expect you back this fall.
So I said to him, "No, Nigel, not without the brie." Indubitably.
Maybe. If Admiral Shammy will let us, we definitely take you back this fall. How about a round of applause for the ship, the Hamilton, and the efforts that they did over the last 2 months? Lastly, I want to thank Hamilton for what I know has not been an easy lift in the last couple of days to be ready for this event. So I want to say bravo Zulu to the crew and the captain for putting on, being ready for this type of offload event, which goes with a lot of man hours, a lot of heavy lift to get things where they need to be and make sure the ship looks as great as it does today. So from there, I just say this is an example of what your Joint Force and Coast Guard are doing for you every day to make America safe, to bring in the drugs before they get to America, and produce just a phenomenal effort on this mission. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Greg Kehoe. I'm the U.S. Attorney for the Middle District of Florida, part of the Department of Justice, of course. I'm with you with other elements from DEA and FBI, part of the Department of Justice, and other law enforcement elements in Home Department of Homeland Security, including others. This element is in the Middle District of Florida is called Panama Express, and they are investigating these matters. And Panama Express, so you know, is the most successful counter-drug operation in the nation's history for over 25 years. The U.S. Attorney's Office, FBI, DEA, Coast Guard Investigative Services, and the Department of Homeland Security have done the following: contributed to the arrests of almost 4,000 drug traffickers, including 400 leaders in these organizations. Denied over $45 billion in revenue, and seized over 1.3 million kilograms of cocaine. Each of these interdictions impacts foreign terrorist organizations, the worst of the worst, where it hurts them the most, their wallets. Foreign terrorist organizations are the focus of the Department of Justice and the President in his Operation Take Back America, and they are responsible for the drug trafficking you see before you. Many of the interdicted vessels we are talking about left Venezuela. It is a haven for Tren de Agua and Cartel de Solis, organized crime gangs in Venezuela. These are foreign terrorist organizations responsible for bringing drugs and violence to the United States, and they are a threat to our national security on a daily basis. There is no place that drug traffickers can hide from the United States Coast Guard and its partners, and we are all partners in this. If you are on the high seas and the water smuggling drugs, we, the Coast Guard, and our partners will find you and stop the federal agents and prosecutors doing what you're doing. You will then be sent to the Middle District of Florida and elsewhere for prosecution, and the evidence that they seize will be used in those cases. You will be brought to justice by the United States as appropriate, but keep in mind that this investigation, these matters will continue, these interdictions would continue, and the frontline operations on the high seas will continue, such that nobody is going to be able to hide. Thank you very much for your time.
Good morning. My name is John McWhite. I'm a proud crew member of the Cutter Hamilton. Thank you for joining us today as we honor the dedicated crew of Cutter Hamilton after an exceptional deployment. I would like to welcome Deputy Assistant Secretary for Senate Affairs, Mr. Ott, Chief Counsel for Senator Moody, Ms. Bergel, Admiral Chamey, and the Honorable Mr. Kehoe. Thank you all, distinguished guests, for joining us here today as we celebrate the accomplishments of Cutter Hamilton. The U.S. Coast Guard is unique in that it is our specialized abilities, LE authorities, and international partnerships that enable us to detect and interdict traffickers hundreds of miles out at sea to stop the flow of illegal narcotics from reaching the approaches to the United States. Additionally, Hamilton's recent mission execution is backed by Force Design 2028, which is already positively impacting operations, specifically with new streamlined practices, eliminated redundancies, and empowered decision-making at all levels appropriate for success. With full support from Secretary Noem, Mr. Sean Planky, and our Commandant, we now have an increased capability to accomplish our mission at sea and to do so efficiently and effectively. Over the past several months, Hamilton worked collectively while supporting U.S. Southern Command's Joint Interagency Task.
Okay, so that pretty much sums it up of what went down. Now, I got to get my thoughts on this. I know somebody is peed off. Somebody peed off today, man. Millions. They say 500 mil lost at sea. Then, how long they been doing this anyway? How long they been really getting this stuff through? You gotta ask yourself that. It ain't none of our business, man. I would have probably stuck me a couple, 3 or 4, and I mean, what would it hurt? 2, 3, 4 pounds, you know? Maybe 20. I was just playing. No, that was crazy right there. That was crazy work, man. Crazy work. So yeah. Hey man, what can we say, man? A lot of that's out the street now. Uh, hey man, somebody hurt right now. Somebody kind of peed off, but I mean, imagine how long they've been doing it. It's the biggest drug bust in history. The Coast Guard, they really did their thing on that one. That was crazy work, man. Man, salute to the work. I mean, that's their job to catch it. They caught it. A lot of it. I don't even think some of them had a stick. Man, come on, that's wild. Like, comment, and subscribe. I gotta know what y'all think, man. I got to know what y'all think. Leave it in the comments, man. Tell me, would you would have took some? Would you would have left some? How you feel about the green? How you feel about the coke? You might be a little out of here. You might be peed off about that, man. Man, like, comment, and subscribe, man. And I'm gonna keep y'all updated with the news and keep getting better with it. Y'all stay up, man. The big way, the only way.